Hello and welcome to the May 21st, 2024 episode of Nick's News. Happy Mother's Day. Move some stuff over. I am your host, Nick. This is brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, I'm starting to have a budget for this. We're on every other Sunday normally, and I thank you all so very much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page. That's right, we're here on Facebook Meta, whatever it's called this week. We are branching out. We are starting up a YouTube page, and we will be co-streaming between Facebook and YouTube as soon as that is available. So, this is a program dedicated to bringing some good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a bit of joy back into the world. Several of our articles are pulled from goodnewsnetwork.org, but we do appreciate articles that are sent in by you, the viewers. Speaking of viewers, I will look over at my chat. Did I say the 21st? I thought I said the 12th. Someone confirm what date I said. If I said the 21st, it's because Sean just had to open his big mouth and write about 2100, my start time, aka 9 o'clock p.m. if you don't work on military time. Just here for the vibes. Well, that's a good thing. I appreciate the vibes. Did I really say the 21st? I don't think I said the 21st. I think I said the 12th successfully. Well, while I wait for the time delay, I will pull up our news brew. We are going to be enjoying Dragon's Milk Reserve S'mores 2024 edition. I am looking very forward to this beer. It is an 11% ABV Imperial Stout. It is bourbon barrel aged, and it's got chocolate, toasted marshmallow, and graham cracker. So, living up to the name of S'mores. We've got the Battle Song bottle opener. Oh, I might need to put an edge on that again. And our choice glass for tonight is going to be one of the Dragon's Milk Tiku glasses. I love these glasses. It's the theatrics of a 5-minute pour right into the center because I want to get that gas out. And we can admire that head. Every last drop. It smells incredible. Oh my gosh, it smells like the real thing. Oh boy. This is going to be a good news brew tonight. Let me move that over so I can still see the chat. Oh, what do we got? So our shout-outs, we've got 2 shout-outs. Our first shout-out is from Charlie, one of our Nick's News viewers. Charlie wanted to give a shout-out to Izzie and Casey, who just had a baby. Mom and baby are recovering and doing well, according to Charlie, and everyone is super happy and excited. So, congrats to Izzie and Casey. Cheers. That's like I'm seated at the campfire and I just took a nice big bite of a s'more that's fresh out of the flames. Wow. The bourbon has like some char to it and the rest is there. It's like marshmallow and chocolate sweet and there's like a little bit of that graham cracker taste to it. That's solid beer. That is solid beer. But then again, every one of the Dragon's Milk Reserves have been amazing. So I'm not surprised. Our next shout out, so I got this one suggested by Donna, but I was going to do this one anyway, so thank you, Donna, for sending this one. This one goes out to all the mothers, to the stepmothers, to the adopted mothers, to the dad mothers, and the fur baby mothers out there. To all the various mothers, thank you. Y'all are killing it. You're doing your best, and that's all that can be asked for. So, to all the mothers, all the various types of mothers, thank you. Tastes like a Charmander made me a s'more. Well, that Charmander can cook, because this beer is solid. That's funny, Sean. Sean is gonna die angry about my Oberon episode where I had an orange. Look, some beer gets fruit. It's called Oberon. That's the only one. Moving on, we got a news quote, and normally when I do news quotes, I go and I look for historical quotes, something big that was said about whatever events might be going on in the world around us, or something that relates to those events. And let me tell you, there's a lot of events going on in the world. You don't have to come to me for that kind of news. But this one instead, I decided to pull one that's a little bit more near and dear to me. So the news quote for this episode is, "It's the start of a new week. Make it a good one." And that one comes from Nancy Fiore, who is a retired elementary school teacher and the best mother that I could ever ask for. When I'm not a forgetful son, I call my mother every Sunday. I try to, but I like many sons slip up. And but every time I do, we have a great conversation, and she always ends it with, it's the start of a new week. Make it a good one. We have our episodes on Sundays. It's the start of a brand new week, and there's nothing more that can be said but that. Do your best and try to make it a good one. So, to my mother, cheers. Sorry, Sean. I miss your mom too. Interpret that how you wish. Bug update. Oh my gosh. I will do that, Eliza. It's so funny. My parents have been they've been volunteering at a winery in Grand Haven called Fox and Hen Vineyard. Amazing place. The wine's fantastic. The cider's amazing. They just had mimosas on tap. Like, holy crap. If you get a chance, if you're in the West Michigan area and you want to go have good wine on a Friday or Saturday night, go find Fox and Hen Vineyard in Grand Haven. It's amazing. But the other night, apparently a whole bunch of her students came in and were happy to see her, so amazed to see her there. So it's incredible, the connection. So I will mention to my mom when I see her that that you know someone that remembers her. That's really cool. Cheers, Sean, to your mother. To April 25th, 2018. Jeez. Well, hey, to your mom, Sean. She raised a good kid. Because I know you, and despite your best efforts to derail my programs, you're a pretty good guy. So your mom did right. Bug update. So getting back into that bug update. She's not a mom. She tried to be a mom. Our orb weaver, Annie, is going strong. She's been with us since December of last year. And when I found her in December, she was already an old woman. Orb weavers normally only live about a year. They lay eggs that overwinter, and then the next generation pops up. So normally they're not around this long. But Annie is hanging in there. She's doing fine. She's still crawling around, and she ate today. I actually fed her a superworm. And she looks nice and plump and happy and content. So, yeah, we've still got our orb weaver Annie, and she is doing very well and defying expectations. So, yeah, everything else is quiet in the bug universe. I still haven't gotten anything to shake things up a bit, so we'll see. All right, so we will get into our good news. Our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories: science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, those really nice articles that we like to end on. We sometimes have a fifth article or a fifth category that pops up that's called Nick News. It's news about my life or news about the broadcast and what's going on. We are going to have one little bit of Nick news at the end. It's nothing major, but we are getting some upgrades, so we'll talk about that at the end. So for now, we're going to jump into our first category, science and technology, and we're going to start off with an article that was sent in by one of our viewers, Charlie. Thank you very much, Charlie, for this article. I called it Rock On Carbon Capture, but I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along with me. I gotta wait for it to boot up because it is slow. And truth be told, I don't know why it's so slow. There we go. Jeez. Took forever. I will try to get pictures of, I will try to get, what's that doing? No, not that. No, there we go. Paste. I should just Control-C, Control-V. There we go. I'll try to get pictures of the different bugs of the bug universe up on the Nick's News page. I've got a bunch, so. All right. Did that make it into the chat? There we go. World's largest plant to extract CO2 and turn it to stone opens in Iceland. In a significant step towards combating climate pollution, Swiss company Climeworks, which specializes in carbon dioxide removal technology, has launched the world's largest facility dedicated to removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The new plant, aptly named Mammoth, began operations in Iceland this Wednesday, scaling up efforts to combat global warming through innovative technology. Mammoth significantly scales up Climeworks' efforts to combat climate pollution. It uses advanced direct air capture, or DAC, technology, which involves drawing air into the facility, capturing carbon dioxide through a chemical process, and then safely storing it underground. This carbon is permanently turned into stone in collaboration with Icelandic company Carbfix, ensuring it does not re-enter the atmosphere. The opening of Mammoth comes at a time when global CO2 levels have reached record highs. With the planet facing severe climatic disruptions, latest trends in weather might be a sign, not quite sure. Technologies that can remove existing carbon from the atmosphere are becoming crucial. Climeworks says Mammoth not only helps in reducing atmospheric CO2, but also serves as a potential blueprint for similar technologies worldwide. Carbon capture is a technology designed to remove carbon dioxide, a significant greenhouse gas, directly from the atmosphere. Facilities like Mammoth, operated by Climeworks, use DAC technology to achieve this. The process involves drawing in air, capturing CO2, and then securely storing it. Mammoth runs entirely on renewable geothermal energy sourced from Iceland, which underlines Climeworks' dedication to sustainability. So their footprint is already very small, and now they're trying to make it smaller by going through CO2 capture. This approach ensures the carbon capture process remains carbon neutral by not adding further environmental emissions. Despite its potential, DAC technology like that used in Mammoth is often viewed skeptically due to its high costs and energy requirements. Critics argue that the focus should primarily be on reducing emissions at the source, fossil fuels. However, Climeworks says it is working on reducing the cost of carbon capture, aiming to make this technology a more viable component of the global strategy against climate change. That's pretty slick. Iceland's facilitate, take. Carbon's gonna fade. They draw it off. Wait, what song is that? What song are you mimicking? That's a good one. So we've got an Icelandic company that is working on climate solutions through carbon capture. That's really neat. Charlie, thank you very much for sending in that article, and to everybody at Climeworks who's working on this, and also the other company. Where was the other company in here? So we got Climeworks, and they're working with, come on, Carbfix. To Climeworks and Carbfix. Cheer. Oh, now I hear it in my head. Now it's going to be stuck on repeat. Oh no. That is funny though. No, you are most certainly not welcome. Not with that. All right, I called this next one From Landfill to Launch. And I will copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. You're well. Oh, okay. I see what you did there, Lily. I also do see your post back here, your response. Eliza gets an award for earworm instant infection. Lily, I do see your post. So what they do, part of what they're doing is they're compacting that CO2 material into leaf matter, and it's making a stone-like product. It's crazy. I remember we had another article a couple weeks ago that was talking about like the back end of this. So now we're talking about the front end. All right, I'm going to copy and paste this next one into the chat if y'all want to read along. Scientists are making jet fuel from landfill gas, aiming to launch circular economy. In a world first, University of Sydney researchers have developed a chemical process using plasma that could create sustainable jet fuel from methane gas emitted from landfills, potentially creating a low-carbon aviation industry. Offering the potential to clear two hurdles in a single leap, the scientists believe that if their process becomes cost-effective and widespread, all the world's landfills could potentially be energy sources. Methane is a far more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. Lo and behold, we've moved on from one greenhouse gas to the other. According to the International Energy Agency, the concentration of methane in the atmosphere is currently around 2.5 times greater than pre-industrial levels. And while methane only exists in the atmosphere for about 9 years, so not as long as carbon dioxide, obviously, it's increasing steadily, with waste emissions and the burning of fossil fuels accounting for a significant portion. Australia recently joined the International Methane Mitigation Agreement with the United States, the European Union, Japan, and the Republic of Korea. Globally, landfills are a major emitter of greenhouse gases, mainly a mixture of CO2 and methane. We have developed a process that would take these gases and convert them into fuels, targeting sectors that are difficult to electrify, like aviation, said lead author Professor P.J. Cullen from the University of Sydney School of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering. Yes, we got engineering. I know, right? We've had a couple of articles lately where the Australians have just been like, excuse us, we're going to just steamroll our way forward. I don't do Australian accents very well. Look up Orgo World. Initial attempts for gasification of waste were less than impressive. Hopefully technology has improved. Interesting. Well, let's see what we've got. Modern landfill... let me see, where is it? Modern landfill facilities already capture, upgrade, and combust their gas emissions for electricity generation. However, our process creates a much more environmentally impactful and commercially valuable product. Again, that's from lead author Professor P.J. Cullen. Global landfill emissions are estimated at 10 to 20 million metric tons of greenhouse gases per year, a value comparable to the emissions of the global energy sector. Aviation currently accounts for approximately 3% of the world's emissions. Creating a closed-loop fuel based on existing emissions would eliminate the need for traditional and sustainable jet fuels, which add further emissions into the atmosphere. The process would work by extracting methane from a landfill site, known as a methane well, which uses a shaft-like mechanism to extract gases. The beauty of this is that this simple process captures almost the exact composition that we need for our process, said Professor Cullen. In before twilight. I didn't even catch that. Non-thermal plasma is an electricity-driven technology which can excite gas at both a low temperature and atmospheric pressure. Essentially what this means is this approach facilitates the conversion of the gas into value-added products by inducing plasma discharge within forming gas bubbles. The process doesn't require heat or pressure, meaning it requires less energy, making it highly compatible with renewable energy power sources. And there is a video about how they're looking to do this. So that is really cool. This is in its infancy. But this technology is a leap forward in combating certain global gas emissions, such as methane. It's a little bit more difficult for us to deal with and do anything with. So this new process, if it can make jet fuel, hell yeah. That there is a doozy. It'll cost you a can of Foster's and a hockey game. Oh, God, I'm going to go with Boston if I think a hockey game. I saw that and I'm like, wait a second. You did fuck. How far is Boston and Australia removed in terms of accent power? They're both pretty solid. That's really good. All right, to everybody in Australia working on this one, particularly the University of Sydney's School of Chemical and Biological Engineering. Cheers. Oh gosh, the Boston accent of the Southern Hemisphere. I like that. Well, that's it for science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. And I've got 2 great articles in this one, I think. This first one is a cancer article, and we have a specific title that we always use for cancer articles. It's Cancer. Fuck cancer. So I'm going to copy and paste this one into the chat if you all want to read along. After childhood cancer diagnosis, donor bone marrow from little sister sends it into remission. A young girl in the English city of Sheffield has seen her rare blood cancer go into complete remission, and she has her even younger sister to thank for it. Diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or ALL, in 2020 at age 6, after collapsing in the school playground, the family was desperate for donor stem cells from bone marrow to treat the rare form of the disease. Remarkably, it was none other than 6-year-old Ruby Leaning's 2-year-old sister Mabel, who came up as a perfect match and was able to donate her bone marrow to keep Ruby alive and treat her cancer. It was a long and difficult road that involved scares and good fortune. Ruby's grandmother, Amanda Fawcett, spoke to SWNS about how difficult it was. It's every parent's nightmare. I was in the room with her mom when we found out, and you just can't take anything in at all. It was all just heart-shattering, she said. Typically, ALL is treated with just chemotherapy, but the kind which Ruby had been diagnosed with required a bone marrow transplant in addition. When Ruby's leukemia did not respond well to chemotherapy, she received a relatively new drug called blinatumomab, which got her leukemia into remission and allowed us to perform her bone marrow transplant. One of the big things with cancer, it's kind of difficult to perform other medical acts when somebody has cancer because already your immune system is kind of shot, especially if you're going through chemotherapy. You have no immune system. You're much more susceptible to infection. If you need to be opened up or receive injections of any sort, you're at risk of those infections coming in. So they had to do something to help her, and it looks like this blinatumomab got her leukemia tamped down enough that they were able to do the bone marrow transplant. That's really cool. Blinatumomab, or Blina, as it's affectionately called for short, is a gentler chemotherapy and immunotherapy drug that has cured children of cancers with significantly less pain and despair than heavier chemo treatments. Fantastic! Blina is a kind of targeted therapy drug called a bispecific T-cell engager, or a BiTE. It's administered via a pump and plastic bag through a tube inserted into the patient's arm. That does not sound fun. The bag is carried around in a slim backpack. Jesus Christ, you have to carry around a backpack worth of medication? And the supply lasts a few days. Dang. When the Blina was initially successful, Ruby's medical staff began to look for donors. We weren't expecting Mabel to be a match at first, but thankfully she was, so we just couldn't believe our luck, Fawcett told Fox News. It was amazing. We were so thankful. declared cancer-free in 2022, just 2 years after. The family says that because Mabel has come to realize what she did for her sister, she asks to borrow nearly everything of Ruby's, but Fawcett said it's all fun and games. She's a happy, normal, and healthy 10-year-old who loves swimming, dancing, and piano lessons, she said of the girl. That is really cool. Blah, blah, la, 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 is all I heard with that new, yeah, Blina to Momab, or we'll call it Blina for short. That is really cool. Wow. To Mabel Fawcett for providing bone marrow that helped save the life of her older sister. Cheers. The handshake from Hero 6. All right. So this next one took a little bit. I need you to think of the Florida Man articles because this one is straight out of Florida. So I called this one Florida Man, or university vaccine convinces immune system to beat up cancer. Fuck cancer. More at 11. And I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Cancer vaccine triggers fierce immune response to fight malignant brain tumors in human patients. In a first ever human clinical trial, an mRNA cancer vaccine developed at the University of Florida successfully reprogrammed a patient's immune system to fiercely attack glioblastoma, the most aggressive and lethal brain tumor. The results in 4 adult patients mirrored those in 10 pet dog patients that were suffering from brain tumors whose owners approved of their participation. mRNA link for the win. The discovery represents a potential new way to recruit the immune system to fight treatment-resistant cancers using an iteration of mRNA technology and lipid nanoparticles, similar to COVID-19 vaccines, but with 2 key differences. Use of a patient's own tumor cells to create a personalized vaccine, and a newly engineered complex delivery mechanism within the vaccine. Something tells me this is going to be using a lot of the tech and the medical improvements that we've seen and actually covered on other Nick's News episodes. Like, I think this is pulling from those, and if it is, that's fantastic news to see this technology continue to improve and now target the most aggressive and lethal brain cancer that we've ever had to deal with. Instead of us injecting single particles, we're injecting clusters of particles that are wrapping around each other like onions, said senior author Elias Seymour, MD, PhD, a UF health pediatric oncologist, who pioneered the new vaccine, which, like other immunotherapies, attempts to educate the immune system that a tumor is foreign. Because that is a big problem. Tumors like to show up as normal cells. They like to trick the immune system to keep it off its back. So if we can retool the immune system to go, hey, no, that's bad, then we can teach the immune system to better fight the things that are, doing damage to us. This is Eviction Day cancer, but it paid. Did I stutter? I like that. These clusters alert the immune system in a much more profound way than single particles would. Among the most impressive findings was how quickly the new method spurred a vigorous immune system response to reject the tumor, said Seymour. It's Sayer, my bad, doctor. Said Sayer, principal investigator at the university's RNA engineering laboratory and McKnight Brain Institute investigator who led the multi-institution research team. In less than 48 hours, we could see these tumors shifting from what we refer to as cold to very immune cells, very silenced immune response, to hot, very active immune response, he said. So in less than 48 hours, the immune system learned its lesson and was like, I need to kill that thing, and started to do so. That was very surprising given how quick this happened. And what that told us is we were able to activate the early part of the immune system very rapidly against these cancers. And that's critical to unlock the after effects of the immune response, he explained in a video, which is attached to this article if you want to watch it. Glioblastoma is among the most devastating diagnoses, with median survival around 15 months. Current standard of care involves surgery, radiation, and some combination of chemotherapy. The new report, which was published May 1st in the journal Cell, is the culmination of 7 years of promising studies starting in preclinical mouse models. In the cohort of 4 patients, genetic material called RNA was extracted from each patient's own surgically removed tumor, and then messenger RNA, the blueprint of what is inside every cell, including tumor cells, was amplified and wrapped in the newly designed high-tech packaging of biocompatible lipid nanoparticles. And something tells me those lipid nanoparticles were in an article that we covered previously. To make tumor cells look like a dangerous virus when re-injected into the bloodstream to prompt an immune system response. So instead of that virus being, instead of that cancer being all like, yeah, I'm normal, don't look at me, we made it look like something horrifying, and the immune system's like, I gotta kill that now. And it did. The vaccine was personalized to each patient with a goal of getting the most out of their unique immune system. The demonstration that making an mRNA cancer vaccine in this fashion generates similar and strong responses across mice, pet dogs, and human patients is a really important finding, because oftentimes we don't know how well the preclinical studies in animals are going to translate into similar responses in patients, said Dwayne Mitchell, MD, PhD, director of the UF Clinical and Translational Science Institute, and a co-author on the paper. Wow. This is a novel and unique way of delivering the mRNA to generate these really significant and rapid immune responses that we're seeing across animals and humans. While too early in the trial to assess the clinical effects of the vaccine, the patients either lived disease-free longer than expected or survived longer than expected. The 10 pet dogs lived a median of 4.5 months compared with a median survival of 30 to 60 days, typical for dogs with the condition. The next step, with support from the Food and Drug Administration and the Cure Search for Children's Cancer Foundation, will be an expanded Phase 1 clinical trial to include up to 24 adult and pediatric patients to validate the findings. So we are going to jump into Phase 1 clinical trial for this. Once an optimal and safe dose is confirmed, an estimated 25 children will participate in Phase 2. For the new clinical trial, Sayers Lab will partner with the Multi-Institution Pediatric Neuro-Oncology Consortium to send the immunotherapy treatment to children's hospitals across the country. They will do this by receiving an individual patient's tumor, manufacturing the personalized vaccine at UF, and sending it back to the patient's medical team, said Sayer, co-leader of the Immuno-Oncology and Microbiome Research Program at the UF Health Cancer Center. I am hopeful that this could be a new paradigm for how we treat patients, a new platform technology for how we can modulate the immune system, said Sayer in a UF Health News report by Michelle Jaffe. We showed in this paper that you actually can have synergy with other types of immunotherapies, so maybe now we can have a combination approach to unlock those immunotherapies. That is really cool. That is some bonkers improvement in the fight against glioblastoma. Wow. To everybody involved on this one, several institutes getting through Phase 1 trials and now getting into Phase 1 trials. I hope for the best. Cheers. Welcome back, Sean. So that gets us out of Category 2. We're going to go into Category 3, Flora and Fauna, aka Plants and Animals. And this first one was sent in by Julie. Julie, thank you so much for sending this one in. I called it Curing the Formerly Incurable. And I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Julie is well known for her cat articles. She is continuing her trend. So for you fur moms and dads out there with cats, I hope you enjoy this one. A giant ray of hope for cats in the United States diagnosed with once incurable FIP. Exciting news is on the horizon for our feline friends. A once incurable disease, FIP, now has a new ray of hope. This breakthrough is particularly significant for those in the kitten and cat rescue community, who will soon have a new treatment option to discuss with their veterinarians. What is FIP? It's feline infectious peritonitis, not to be confused with FIV plus cats. As followers of the what is this website called again? Coal and Marmalade. As followers of Coal and Marmalade, they know Marmalade the cat is FIV plus or FIV positive and doing great. So it's a different FIV, but this is still pretty interesting. FIP is an uncommon mutation of the common and generally harmless and common feline coronavirus. Important note, it doesn't infect people. Sadly, in the past, there wasn't much hope for cats that were diagnosed with this nasty mutation of the viral disease. But then, starting in February of 2023, Coal and Marmalade shared the story about Raffi, a rescued kitten who beat FIP with new treatment protocols following clinical trials in 2022. Early cases like Ralphie's, it's Ralphie, they misspelled it, helped pave the way for making the treatment more widely available to other cats. In January of 2024, Coal and Marmalade were thrilled to share the story of Clara, a Siamese cat who celebrated beating FIP after 168 difficult days. It wasn't easy, but she made it and is living her best life in Florida. At the time, the treatment for FIP global cats wasn't widely available in the United States. Not yet, but that's about to change thanks to success stories like Clara's. Coal and Marmalade shared that the groundbreaking treatments will be legally available through veterinarians starting in June of this year, 2024. They explained that the same compound formulation, called GS441524, is already in use in the UK and Australia. US-based Stokes Pharmacy is partnering with veterinary pharmaceutical company London-based Bova to make it widely available in the States for the first time. That is true, Eliza. Now more than ever, there's real hope. Simply talk to your veterinarian about the possibility of a prescription. There's also vastly more information about the new FIP treatment on Bova's page and website, and there are links available. In the rescue world, people are super excited to see this happening. Clara's family was thrilled that the same treatments that saved her will now be an option for everyone in the United States. Another survivor, Noe, a blind kitty, is making extra biscuits after hearing the news, and there is an adorable video of Noe, who is also an FIP survivor. So yeah, it's looking like we are getting a vaccine for feline infectious peritonitis, which is a mutation of the common feline coronavirus, something that we have not had yet. So cats around the world can rejoice, and to everyone that helped work on this, cheers. And to Julie for sending in this article, big cheers. I call this next one Student's Best Friend, and this one hits a little close to home because my current state of residence is Michigan in the United States, and this is an article straight out of my state. So here we go. I will copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to read along. Dogs placed in elementary schools making a big difference in academics and mental health for Michigan students. I mean, this one sounds like a given, but I guess they actually had to test it to check. To help reduce anxiety and open the way for learning, Several elementary schools in Michigan have enrolled service dogs as a full-time happiness ambassador, and it is positively working. Students are already seeing a big difference in their academics, according to a news report from WXMI TV 17. Oh, you gotta head out, Sean. That's okay. We'll have you've done some damage, and I mean, you've derailed me right now. That alone, you can catch the replay, see what you miss. Priority Health, a Michigan health insurance provider, launched Priority Pups in September when golden doodles were placed in 2 of the state's school districts, with more to come. Oh, that is awesome, Eliza. I love you, Mika, said Shelby, a student at North Godwin Elementary School who was snuggled up with the pup, which serves in a different classroom every day. Research shows the presence of a trained dog lowers children's stress, fosters a positive attitude toward learning, and smooths interactions between classmates. A 2023 report from Mental Health America found that many youth in Michigan with clinical depression did not receive any mental health treatment. Shelby's mom, Lori Ull, described the difference Mika is making in her daughter's life. Shelby was diagnosed with a genetic disorder called Fragile X syndrome, along with autism and ADHD. Here at school, she really struggles with a range of emotions. She gets angry and will cry or scream uncontrollably. But since Mika the Golden Doodle arrived at school, there is a guaranteed way to bring calm to the situation. I've seen Shelby having a meltdown, and when Mika is brought into the room, I can see a breath of fresh air wash over her, and she finds comfort. It's not only the stressed out students that benefit from sitting with the pup during the day. Research shows that literacy scores went up for children after they read to dogs. My math was super hard, one 5th grader told WXMI TV, but then Mika came in, and when I take a break with her for a few minutes, then math became really easy. We've cracked the code. We just need more dogs. The program was made possible by Canines for Change, founded in 2005 by Dr. Nikki Brown, a school psychologist for the Lansing School District in Michigan. Dr. Brown began taking her corgi to school to work with special education students and noticed a drastic improvement in their skills and behavior with the addition of a dog. So she teamed up with another trainer to be able to offer service dogs for children with special needs. 3 years ago, Canines for Change was approached by their local Grand Ledge School District to place a facility dog in each of their 9 school buildings. When Priority Health heard about it, they began funding their own program for schools, Priority Pups. And there are a few videos that you could watch at your leisure that go further into Priority for Pups and Priority Health's missions with dogs in classrooms, effectively. Kids gain more confident research. Yeah, I remember we did an article that wasn't not too long ago about kids that were reading to maybe it was a while ago. I do remember us doing an article that was about kids that were reading to shelter dogs, and their reading skills just went through the roof, and it was such like a heartwarming article. I don't remember if it was flora or fauna or wholesome notes, but man, it could be both. So that one's solid. To everybody at Priority Pups and just everyone involved in this with helping children by having dogs in classrooms. Cheers. That's true. The dog's not going to be mad at your grammar. The dog's just going to be happy you're reading to it. All right, I called this next one, You're Never Too Old to Strut. And I'll copy and paste this one in the chat if y'all want to read along. World's oldest bird, named Wisdom, lost her mate, but is courting new suitors at 72. I remember you talking about it, Sean. It may be something to look into for your school district or for schooling is just some time with an animal of some sort, it might, I mean, it's something to try. That, Lily, I echo that sentiment. I would have rather read to a dog than anyone at that age. The world's oldest bird may have lost her mate, but she's now courting new suitors in her 70s. This Laysan albatross, who's named Wisdom, was photographed dancing with potential mates on Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge, the seabird's home. Oh, gotcha, Sean. Hey, Sean, that might be cool. That might work. Sean, give it a try. By all means, report back. Let us know. We can talk about it in a shout out. Or just an article about you and what's going on that's good in your life. Thought to be around 72 years old and recognized by her band number Z333, Wisdom returned again for nesting season in late November. Her longtime mate, Akiakami, has yet to be seen and was absent the last 2 nesting seasons, but Wisdom was spotted in the spring socializing with other male birds. Laysan albatross females lay a single egg in the first half of December, said Jonathan Pleisner, supervisory wildlife biologist at the National Wildlife Refuge. This is awesome. I keep going over to the chat because there's some awesome comments in the chat about Eliza's son reading to the cats and got 100% on a Michigan State math assessment. The ultimate Sean has derailed us. Lily commenting if we have an episode about Sean, it's the ultimate derailment. This is perfect. Back to the article. So Laysan albatross females lay a single egg in the first half of December, said Jonathan Pleisner, supervisory wildlife biologist at the National Wildlife Refuge. She is quite spry for a septuagenarian, Pleisner reported to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. She was actively courting other birds. It is estimated that Wisdom has produced 50 to 60 eggs and as many as 30 chicks that fledged during her lifetime, according to Pleisner. Biologists first identified and banded Wisdom in 1956 after she laid an egg. They aren't known to breed before age 5. Along with Wisdom, millions of seabirds return to Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge in the North Pacific Ocean to nest and raise their young. So here is Wisdom, a 72-year-old bird strutting her stuff and dancing with potential suitors and just carrying on. All right, Sean, you have a great night. And yeah, see what happens. And yes, biologists are just a bunch of voyeurs, according to Lily. She ain't wrong. So, to this Laysan albatross Wisdom, strut your stuff at 72. Cheers. So with that, we're going to bounce out of Category 3. We're going to bounce into Category 4, the wholesome notes, those really nice touchy-feely articles that get our hearts going. I called this first one turning over a new page. And I'll copy and paste this in the chat if y'all want to read along. Yeah, I still haven't figured out eels. Where do eels come from? Somewhere in the ocean. 2 cockapoos. Alright. I'm going to copy and paste this in the chat. Meet the street librarian, changing the lives of Baltimore youth and beyond. 3 years ago, Araba Mays was reading a book to her niece on the front stoop of her Baltimore home in a perfectly ordinary fashion. But as the pages turned, the number of local children gathered around for stoop story time increased until Mays had to take notice. What are they doing, she thought. When she had finished reading to them, they asked her to read another. Go home and read, she said. We don't have any books, they replied. Little did she know, but those fateful minutes of reading time launched Mays's career as a librarian, an influencer who champions a cause of getting books into the hands of urban children with no access to libraries. For those that don't know, Eliza, one of our watchers, is a librarian and just claimed that she has been summoned. Now known as Storybook Mays, she started her work at the nearest library, which wasn't that near since her neighborhood is one of the worst book deserts in Baltimore. Using her training, she began to curate collections of books and get them into the hands of children using 3 creative methods. The first is a free book vending machine. Using her extreme popularity on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, she gathered funds to install a book vending machine for kids on the street in 2023. Through her efforts in opening pop-up bookstores, she's distributed over 7,000 books to children. Throughout the process, she routinely hosted more stoop story times, where she would read to children throughout the city, driving publicity through her social media channels. This is incredible. Now, Storybook Mays is attempting her largest project yet, a book trolley. With the goal of raising $100,000 on GoFundMe, she hopes to have a colorful children's train that will toot its way through the book deserts of Baltimore, providing as many books as can fit in the carriage cars. This book haven on wheels aims to break down barriers and provide access to books that traditional libraries can't reach, Mays writes. As the wheels of the book trolley turn, so do the pages of countless stories waiting to be discovered. And there is a video if you want to see Araba Mays's book trolley idea and what she wants to bring to life. That is absolutely amazing. Shut up and take my money. To Araba Mays, Storybook Mays, and to all of her future projects, bringing books to children. Cheers. That is right. I have a friend, Jimmy. He's a friend of several people that are viewers of Nick's News. And he does a library on wheels, and he is an amazing man. Unbelievable with the bookmobile. So, yeah, this is near and dear, and this is an amazing project from Araba Mays in Baltimore. So, best of luck to her, and I gotta find her GoFundMe. This next one was sent in by Charlie. Thank you very much, Charlie, for sending in this one. I called it 550 Pieces of Art, but I will copy and paste this into the chat for y'all to read along. I will warn you, I'm not crying, you're crying, because this is a real wholesome note. Elementary school custodian crochets 550 flowers for each student's mom on Mother's Day. An elementary school custodian in West Virginia crocheted more than 500 flowers for students to give to their moms on Mother's Day this year. It's a tradition that Sonia Davis, a custodian at J.N. Elementary School, has done for the past 4 years. Davis said it's all about bringing joy to kids and their families. Her Mother's Day crafts began with a request from a student. A little kid came up to me and had asked me for a rose for their mom, and it broke my heart. I went the next year. I made one for every single kid in the school and the staff. So it means a lot to me to see these kids smile, Davis said. Davis spends months at a time working on her creations. This year, she created 550 pieces of art. She continued to make the presents even as life threw her unimaginable curveballs, like her diagnosis with ampullary cancer, an aggressive gastrointestinal cancer. I was determined to keep on going. This is one way of doing it. Then I had ampullary cancer a couple of years ago, and I was determined this was not going to stop me from making these kids happy, because kids come first, she said. The young students said they are excited to give the crocheted flowers to their moms, and they are grateful for their generous custodian. She's the best custodian, and she helps everyone, 2 first graders said. The Paper Cranes short story, yep. That is amazing. Charlie, thank you for sending in this article. And to Sonia Davis, who just gives and has one of the greatest lines I think I've ever said on Nick's News, or I've ever read on Nick's News. I was determined this was not going to stop me from making these kids happy, because kids come first. Just her drive and determination. That's amazing. Cheers. Wow. Our last article of the night was sent in by Eliza. Thank you very much, Eliza, for sending this one in. I called it A Mother's Love Heals. And this is another one that's a little bit close to home, from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm going to copy and paste this in the chat for y'all to read along. Once again, I'm not crying. You're crying. A mom's love helps woman wake from coma after 5 years. From Grand Rapids comes a story too magical to believe, of a mother's love creating a medical miracle, and a woman who cared for her comatose daughter in silence for half a decade. Jennifer Flewellen was 35 when, according to a feature on Good Morning America, she was put into a medically induced coma after crashing her car into a pole. Flewellen had just dropped her 3 boys off at school, but began to feel lightheaded on the way home. Placed on life support at a large hospital, nurses were certain she would never recover. And though there were no hard or fast rules for when a person wakes up from a coma, by day 2, physicians were encouraging Flewellen's mother, Peggy Means, to take her off of life support. I remember one respiratory nurse, she told me, well, she'll only get worse. And I told her, don't you ever say that to me again, and never say it around my daughter, Means told Good Morning America. I'd say it's very easy to be negative, but we have no room for negativity. Weeks turned into months, which turned into years, but Means' love for her daughter kept her strong and faithful through the long hours of silence. Means did as much as was possible and then some, transferring her to different care centers, battling with insurance to keep covering the treatment, arguing with hospital administrators, all the while working full-time as an industrial sewer and pampering the unconscious Jennifer with all kinds of TLC. Means would give her daughter spa days, even though Flewellen was unresponsive to all stimuli. She would wheel her around the hospital, talking to her as if she were awake, recounting the progress of her 3 sons in school. Visiting nearly every day, this continued for 5 long years, through the pandemic and out the other side. Then, one day, the truly unthinkable happened. 5 years after the fateful crash, Means was sitting with her daughter in a sunny spot outside the hospital, telling jokes. Flewellen laughed. Means could hardly believe it. I started to wheel her up to the building, Means said, being scared at first, and then I thought, she's laughing. So I stopped and got my phone out. After all that time, what Means believed all along with all her heart was true. Her daughter was still in there. I would ask her questions about the boys and stuff, and she couldn't speak, even a sound. But she could shake her head yes and no, Means recalled. I said, Jen, am I your dad? And she made a face like no. And then I'd ask about the boys. I'd mix up their names, like one middle name to another one. Llewellyn was answering the questions correctly, so Means immediately organized speech therapy. And that was the beginning of the end. Llewellyn was indeed still there, and as the weeks went by, more and more of her was re-emerging, like a butterfly breaking loose of its cocoon. Good Morning America says that just 2 to 3% of people who left in a vegetative state for that long will ever wake up. But Means is ensuring her daughter will be able to do more than that. She organized occupational, speech, and physical therapy. She's organized surgeries to loosen the rigor mortis-like tension that is set into her daughter's joints so she can regain movement. At Mary Free Bed Rehabilitation Center in Grand Rapids, Michigan, one doctor said that the case study is so rare, Means is basically driving scientific discovery. No one can say for certain how much faculty Llewellyn will recover, because the instances are just too rare. But because the answer isn't known, Means is driving forward with all the love and determination that kept her going through the unresponsive years. Eventually, Jennifer Llewellyn, at age 41, and a new grandmother to a 1-year-old granddaughter, left Mary Free Bed and came home to stay with Means, herself newly retired. Llewellyn's oldest son moved in with the two to help out. The road to recovery is long, and no one knows where the end will be. But mother and daughter carry on with a mantra given by a nurse practitioner who once told Means that you have to dream it, then you have to believe it. And now we have the second best statement I've ever read on Nick's News. You have to dream it, then you have to believe it. That is amazing. Eliza, thank you very much for sending in that article. And to Jennifer Llewellyn, good luck and best of wishes on your road to recovery. And to your mother, I know it just kept saying her last name. Where's her first name? Peggy Means, for never giving up, for fighting that battle for 5 years, and for taking care of your daughter. And now getting to see her come back. Cheers. Wow. Those were 10 great articles, with those wholesome notes being just wholesome incarnate. From amazing librarians to custodians who had the best intentions of the children that she works with in mind, to a mother who never gave up. Great wholesome notes to end on. But wait, there's just a little bit more. There is Nick News, which is the uncategorized fifth category. It pops up now and then when something's going on, and something is going to be going on with Nick's News. So we here at Some Budget Studios are getting a little bit of help from a producer and from a graphic artist. Some of you will have noticed that our banner recently changed on the Facebook page, and it's a beautiful banner. I absolutely love it. And there's more changes to come with the appearance of Nick's News, with the banner, with the profile picture, with the upcoming YouTube page that's going to have all of our previous videos nice and archived on it, and we will be co-streaming between YouTube and Facebook, so it's going to be saving all of them there too. We'll do clips and all sorts of little fun things. And we are going to be changing the program that we use to run Nick's News. So right now, I use Streamlabs OBS, but Grayson Art, who is our graphic arts company that did our new banner and is going to be doing some more for us, from what I hear, Grayson gave me a huge rundown on how to use just the regular program OBS Studio. In one day, in like 1 hour, I almost had the entire Nick's News program set up. But in order to run it, I need to run tests. And a test isn't going to work unless I have test subjects to watch it and let me know how the stream looks. So, between now and our next Nick's News, which is it's actually going to be on Monday, May 27th. And it's because I'm traveling on May 26th. I'm going to be traveling at night. I'm not going to be able to do the episode. So I will be doing it on Memorial Day Monday, the 27th. Between now and then... Oh, you use right? Oh, that's cool, Lily. Good. Very cool. I'm glad you like it. Grayson had me sold on it in an hour. So between now and the 27th, we're going to be doing a couple of tech tests. I'll make some posts ahead of time when we're going to run them. They'll probably be in the evening, when everything's quieted down, probably around 9 o'clock, like when we start these episodes. And we're going to be doing tech tests and running the new OBS studio setup to see how it looks, see how the transitions between my different scenes look, make sure the sound is right, make sure the video, the recording, make sure everything just checks out. And I would greatly appreciate any assistance by you, the viewers, if you want to tune in for those tech tests and help me start to work out the bugs and get our broadcast going even better. It's a big step forward, just putting more time and energy into this. I love it. I love doing this, and I want to grow this to bring that good news to combat all that bad news we're bombarding with. I just want to get this good news out there because it's so hard to dig up. You, the viewers, found great articles, and goodnewsnetwork.org finds a couple as well. Things that we never would hear about because of just how much bad news there is. So I greatly appreciate any and all help that you all can provide as we continue to move forward and grow Nick's News and just provide good news. So thank you all. That's all we have for the end of our broadcast. And thank you very much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News Facebook page. Our next episode, usually we're on every Sunday, but our next episode will be on March 27th, Monday, Memorial Day Monday, at 9 p.m., same time. I encourage participation, so if you feel inclined, please, by all means, you can suggest news brews, you can suggest shout-outs, news quotes, like really good quotes that are apt for what's going on in the world, or even good news articles that we can present on future episodes. If it's a news brew, I will strive to find it. I had a news brew suggestion. I could not find it, sadly, in the time that I had. So I will keep trying to find it, though, to have it on a future episode. So just know, if something doesn't pop up in the next upcoming episode, I'm still going to try to fit it in a future one. That's about it. We're going to keep building this. We're going to keep spreading good news. If you send in articles, I do appreciate a variety of articles across our categories. And those categories, again, are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and the wholesome notes that we really like to end on. Those good touchy-feely articles that get our hearts going. So, as always, thank you again. I love you all so much, and have a great night. And I'm going to play us out.